On the whole, when thinking about money laundering and the reasons behind why someone would commit this type of crime, we generally think it's due to greed. But is that always the case? Could it be something else? Is it out of necessity or force? In today's video, we will be taking a look at why some people commit the acts of money laundering and some of the possible reasons behind it. Hello and welcome to another KYC Lookup video where we bring you AML related content to help you enhance your knowledge in the fight against money laundering. Before diving into today's video, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future videos. Oh, and don't forget to leave us a comment with any suggested topics you would like us to cover in the future. So, on to today's video. If you're new to our channel, let's quickly give you the definition of what money laundering actually is. What is money laundering? Money laundering is the process of illegally concealing the origin of money obtained from illicit activities, such as drug trafficking, corruption, embezzlement, or gambling, by converting it into legitimate source. It is a crime in many jurisdictions with varying definitions, and it is usually a key operation of organised crime. Types of money laundering. Money laundering can take on many different forms, but the outcome is always the same: to take the dirty money, convert it into clean money, and back to the perpetrator. Over the years, and now with us living in a more digital age, the criminals have come up with new ways to launder their proceeds. They could do this through smurfing, money mules, shell companies, the shop front, white-collar crime, or cryptocurrency money laundering. Reasons to launder money. When thinking of money launderers, we think of hardened criminals who are full of greed. Now, that may be the case for some of them at the top of the organisation. However, are the ones involved who are lower down the organisation just trying to get out of paying their taxes and just want more money for themselves? There could be many factors involved in committing such crime. So let's take a look at some of them. Let's start with the cost of living crisis. As we have all been aware of, the basic cost of living has skyrocketed. Buying groceries, filling up your car, and keeping our homes warm is becoming more of a challenge to be able to afford. Wages have not increased in line with inflation, and people are working longer hours. With most people struggling to make ends meet, turning to crime could be one way to get ahead and add a few more bucks to your bank. Of course, committing any act of criminality is wrong. But when you need to put food on the table, the person you least expect it could be breaking the law out of desperation. Tax rises. During COVID and with lockdowns implemented, society spent less, with governments spending more to bail out businesses from collapse by introducing the furlough scheme in the UK, and with the US having similar schemes by giving its citizens non-repayable cheques to keep their heads afloat. This has now had a knock-on effect, leaving a gaping hole in the country's purse. Taxes have risen to an all-time high, and we are having to use more and more of our own money to fill in the gap. With that added pressure, criminals are coming up with different ways to avoid paying their taxes, and money laundering is one way of doing that. Monetary gain. Most of us, if not all of us, want to have a bit more money in our accounts so that we can buy the things we want to. The majority of society would go down the legal route to do this, getting an extra job and saving little by little. For most criminals, this is a very long and slow process, so they want as much money as they can get in the shortest amount of time. greed. For someone to commit the act of money laundering, they have to believe that the monetary reward is high. Take, for example, money laundering through bank accounts. More often than not, getting into this type of crime is due to someone knowing someone else who does it, and then that person boasting on how much money they made by doing a simple act of receiving money and holding it in their account and then withdrawing it to give to someone else, whilst taking a percentage. The more the criminal does this, the more money they make for themselves, spurs on the motivation to launder more and expand their so-called business. Over time, and if they haven't got caught, recruiting more people is needed, and the operation grows, which means their profits increase. Buying cars, expensive watches and jewellery, and even properties are one of the things these criminals tend to buy. But they have to be careful. Showing off too much wealth that doesn't really coincide with their economic status can be a giveaway. What's the real cost of money laundering on an annual basis? Financially, according to the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, global money laundering transactions accounts for roughly $800 billion to $2 trillion annually, or 2% to 5% of the global gross domestic product, GDP. But what is the cost on society as a whole? Money laundering has a detrimental effect on the wider society, and it's not just a financial cost. Criminals take advantage of people's hardships to recruit and will then exploit them. Drug distribution and other crimes increase, which then makes us all feel unsafe. And with finances being diverted away from schools, housing, healthcare and outreach services, we all suffer. Financial institutions are implementing stronger policies and procedures, and governments are trying to tackle the problem. But we all must do more to stop this crime in its tracks. And if you see red flags, you must report it. Well, there you have it. Why some people commit the acts of money laundering and some of the possible reasons behind it. Please tell us in the comments section what other effects money laundering has on society and the economy, and what other topics you would like us to cover. We have now launched our very own courses for you to take a more in-depth look at a variety of subjects, such as Introduction to AML, Beneficial Ownership, and Customer Risk Rating, for example. So make sure you visit our website for further details, and let us help you connect the dots in KYC. Thank you for watching the video, and if you made it this far, don't forget to like and subscribe to watch more amazing videos.